It's a huge deal because President Trump is the kingmaker in Republican primaries. That's why it's such a big deal. Take a look here. Times Trump endorsees won GOP primaries. This is congressional and gubernatorial. In 2020, it was 98%. In 2022, it was 95%. In 2024, it was 96%. President Trump has the magic touch when it comes to endorsing in Republican primaries. And when he doesn't endorse you, you go, to quote the great movie Good Burger, into the grinder. But the bottom line is this: if you voted to convict Trump so far, your chances of winning re-election have been quite small. And Bill Cassidy, of course, just got a major impediment to his road to re-election if Ludlow decides to run. And he is still quite popular amongst Republicans at this point. Look, overall in July, it was 89%. That was 6 months ago. Today, it's basically the same at 88%. How about strongly approve? Those who don't just like Donald Trump, but love him, love him, love him. In July, it was 61%. It's the same 61% now. And that is why the GOP voters, when Donald Trump says something, they say, how quickly can we get to Donald Trump's position? And if you
the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright star.
It has officially been 1 year of Donald Trump 2.0. 1 year ago, he was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. Any excuse to play Donald Trump and his dance moves will do it. But the president, he's been leading a revolution. Under his leadership, the southern border has closed. Millions of illegal immigrants have self-deported. Violent crime is down in multiple cities. Deaths due to overdoses has fallen dramatically by more than 25% in the space of a year. Specifically, fentanyl deaths, they're coming right down. The economy is getting back on track. Inflation is down. And Trump's bold moves on the world stage certainly are making America's enemies pretty nervous. It's his unpredictability that makes him so dangerous to America's enemies. And he's making, of course, we know he makes plenty of threats. And I'm sorry to the lefty who came up with the most bizarre term to describe Trump with taco, the taco label. Unfortunately for this guy, Donald Trump does not always chicken out. We have seen that. He's ended several global conflicts, securing the release of hostages from terrorists in Gaza, getting European nations to pay more for defense, obliterating Iran's nuclear facilities, capturing dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife. I mean, how likely is it that any of this would have been achieved if Kamala Harris was running America with Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who's back in the spotlight right now for his incompetence as the state is at the center of one of the largest fraud scandals in the country. It's time for Media Meltdowns. And before we show you the bizarre ways that mainstream media is deciding to cover news, I have to say that the video of the year goes to YouTuber Nick Shirley, whose work has further exposed how widespread the fraud scandal in Minnesota really is. And here is just part of the 43-minute mega viral video.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday. And if you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working, midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing, and like I said, they literally spelt the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota.
Quality Leering Center. You cannot make this stuff up. Well done to Nick Shirley. I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad and frustrating, but Nick Shirley has been out there doing what reporters should be doing. I mean, going to these centers, bringing the receipts and asking questions. What a concept. So what does CNN do in response to Nick's video? They go after him. No, not Tim Walz, who's supposed to be running the state, not the daycare centers in question. They direct all of their hard questions at Nick. Here's CNN.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
It should be a
daycare.
reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked. If
And
you
so,
go to a public
okay,
school or
you bring up a
private
fair point.
school,
Then but why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Yeah, it's just a failed gotcha question from CNN. Every ordinary person can see this. And here's the reporter again grilling Nick Shirley for helping further expose fraud.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
We can make our own analysis. I mean, it's just too much for CNN. But interestingly, CNN ends up without admitting, that Nick Shirley was spot on.
And is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Joining us now is Caitlin Sinclair, host of The Caitlin Sinclair Show. Caitlin, it is great to see you again. Happy New Year. Before we get into all things Maha, I have to get your reaction to this. The mainstream media, clearly still doesn't get it. Instead of going after Tim Walz, going after the fraud, they go after this 23-year-old YouTuber who put together this phenomenal video that was going viral for a reason.
Yeah, Gab, new year, same games by the mainstream media, right? In case your viewers needed just one more reason to despise the media, they just laid it out on a silver platter. Legacy media is dead. And guess what, Gab? They killed themselves. So Nick Shirley here, who's a friend and an incredible journalist, he didn't just expose the Somalian daycare fraud. He exposed what little trust was left of the mainstream media, where their priorities actually lay, and how incompetent and corrupt these outlets are. And it's so sad. But again, a new year, I don't think the American people are going to a lot of these legacy outlets anymore. I read in the New York Times, they actually published an attack on Nick Shirley, calling him a propagandist aligned with MAGA. Had this been a liberal journalist, social media exposing something on social media, possibly, Gab, in a red state that was aligning with the Obama administration or the Biden administration, that journalist would have been Time Person of the Year.
Of course.
You, I, and all of your viewers know that. So the hypocrisy stays dormant. And again, it's a new year, so I don't think the American people are going to stand it any longer.
You're absolutely right. Even the labeling, they label him a MAGA YouTuber. I mean, he's out there doing some incredible work. He did such a great job that now Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, has announced that he's dropping his bid to run for a third term as governor. So well done to Nick Shirley, and a reminder again just how disastrous it would have been if Tim Walz was vice president. I mean, can you imagine?